Welcome back to Don's Life. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining today. Behind me is a 2022 Cadillac Escalade Sport Platinum. She's all black. She's impossible to keep clean. Dust, swirl marks, that type of thing. It's just tough. If you own the black vehicle, you know what I'm talking about. It is getting close to a month old, and we're trying to keep the paint looking good. But like I said, it's very tough. So today, VViViD has sent us over a new pattern that they have. This is called their gloss forged carbon. You can see these subtle forged carbon patterns laid in there. It's got a nice gloss finish on top. I wanted something like this that was going to be subtle, keep that black look overall, but when the light hits it at certain angles, you would start to see this pattern pop. It could be a disaster, it could be epic, but it's definitely going to be a one of one. So over the next couple days, you're going to see footage close up of disassembly, reassembly, laying in the vinyl. I'll probably talk about some tricks and tips along the way, but let's just get at it. You'll see some nice time lapses. Let's go. Okay, we're going to show you how to use some knifeless tape. So you're going to want to just get that peeled back a little bit.
You do know I have nails, right?
Yeah, you'll be fine. I can maybe start it for you. It's PPF there too, so it's rubbery. Okay, stop there. Okay, now you want to kind of fold it like this. And you want to fold that down with your thumb really hard. Left, yeah. And then you're going to yank on that. Push hard with this. No, like snap it. There you go. Now you're just gonna follow it along. Yep, just hold at that angle. Yeah, you can do that ahead of it actually. There you go. Yeah, you got it. Perfect. Now pull both pieces of the, it's not the filament, it's the other piece. Pull them back. Yeah, just pull them all out. All right, you just did your first inlay. Now we'll heat that up. There you go, good job. Okay, we got the hood vinyl done. So I post heated it all. Come over here with the camera so you can kind of see the forged carbon. I'm not sure how that picks up on film, but I think it looks pretty cool. Anyway, everything's nice and tight, looks good. We've started masking the bumper and also doing our inlays. You want to do inlays anywhere that there's really hard to conform areas, recessed areas, things like that. So I've got inlays right here, you can see a little bit. And I've got finish line tape ready to go all the way. So when I put this vinyl on, it'll wrap around about 1/8 of an inch. And then when I take the finish line tape out, it'll cut the vinyl right there, it'll wrap over that 1/8 of an inch. We'll post heat it, it'll all look good. We've got inlays in here, so we'll do the same thing here. Our seams will be facing down. I've got cutting tape underneath here. I got more inlays here. I got cutting tape underneath here. So you kind of get the idea. Plus with a bumper like this, and because there's a body line right here, I like to split it down the middle. That way I don't have this huge sheet wrapped around probably like 80 inches or something, and then run into a mistake part way and have to replace the whole thing. This way I can work in sections. I can do this half, and then I can do this half. I'll have a seam here. You'll know it's there because you watched the video, but nobody else will know unless they watch the video. So let's go. All right, we are done one whole side. We're done the driver's side of the vehicle. We're done the front bumper. We're done the hood. Let's take a closer look. So here's the hood. The hardest part of this hood is these spots right here. They tend to want to form bubbles in the crevices, so you just got to work the material in slowly before you have to stretch it again over the sides. This side was actually harder. It had a lot more bubbles, but we lifted the film and redid it and we're good. We got all of our corners on point. Everything blends nicely together. If anybody ever asks you what's the easiest vehicle to wrap, black. Always black, and I'll show you why. So with black, you always have your body lines, your gaps, but when the door is closed, you get this nice black shadow. So if your wrap only comes in here, say 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch, it just blends and turns away to a shadow, so it's black. If you look at my ET4, it's black here. There's weather stripping in there, so it's not a good example, but here is. So in here, you can still see white paint in the crack, and then you can see the weather stripping, so it's distinguishable. If I was to wrap the AT4, I would need to get vinyl on that white strip of paint. So I have to actually go in probably like 3/4 of an inch. So that makes it harder, and that's why my BMW was a lot harder, because I had to wrap inside all these areas here. You see it's purple in there. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera, but it's all purple in there, but otherwise white would be showing, so you have to wrap a lot more. So black vehicles are the way to go if you're gonna wrap them. So if wrapping something you wanna do, and it doesn't matter the color of the vehicle that you're choosing, I'd go black. Now, the lighting's not great in here. You can see we got nice clean lines. I had to do that by hand. So you just butt up the film up against the weather stripping, and then you gently glide your cutting knife along the side, and it should cut nice and straight. I haven't post-heated this yet, so if there's any little dimples there, they just gotta be laid down when I heat them up. But otherwise it's straight. The fuel door, I did old school. So I just left this one big piece of vinyl, and then I cut right in the middle of the seam all the way around. And it just lays in just a little bit around the edge here, and just a little bit over the top. I still need to finish post-heating this side, but I'm pretty happy with the edges. All our wheel wells, nice and tight. Take your time on these. Pushed into the seam here. Everything looks pretty good. I'm really happy so far. It's so hard to pick up on camera, guys. So more shots we see outside, the better. But there it is. In person though, it's all the little forged carbon pieces, they kind of change color as you move with the light. So let's get going on the side. So here's a good example of the protective cap and when you may want to remove it. So it's really nice that you can squeegee these areas when the cap's on, so you don't scratch the film unnecessarily. So that's good. But as you start to work in tighter areas or there's more conforming that's needed, you can see the cap starts to release. And now it's just not as effective as you want it to be. So I like to pull it off when it gets like this. So that's what we're going to do. There's a little bit left on here. It's making it really tough to get in this area. I could add some heat and that would fold over no problem, but the cap is adding a little bit of resistance. So we'll take that off too. There, now it'll be a little easier to work with. You can see the film actually responds better. I didn't have to heat it up, and I can massage it close to where I want it. And then I can start using heat where I need. So there you go. There's an example of when you want to take the cap off. check out this corner. So that's what you want to do. You want to fold it around, just stretch it ever so slightly, pull it under, and then we're going to slice it right there and then cut this back as a triangle and then just leave enough film that it'll start to wrap around. So it should turn out great. And then we just push the vinyl around where we're eventually going to cut around this headlight. The key is make sure there's no resistance. That's why we have the tape here. So the vinyl is easy to push into this recess, and then we can cut deep inside there without scratching the paint and make a nice clean line. And then we'll fold this over with heat just to get it started. And then we'll cut probably about, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch, half an inch. So it folds all the way over, like on this side here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's folded in. You could put cutting tape on there, which is fine, but I feel good enough with my skill set or skill level that I can just use my finger as a guide and cut nice and straight and then fold it over. Front quarter panel's done, all post heated, all edges tucked nicely. We're gonna start the door now. I need to take off the mirror because it's connected to the body. I need to take off the door handle. I want the film to look really good all in there. I like to take the weather stripping off when one can. Since I'll have the mirror off, that's easy to get at as well. So we'll take the weather stripping off. We'll end up taking it off of this door, of course, its handle. Down here, there is a molding, kind of a door protector. And then there's just a tiny little bit of paint under there that needs to be wrapped. I'm gonna leave these on. I can cut around them and finish that off nicely. If you need to see in dim lit areas, just use a headlamp. Okay, we're ready. Let's clean the door with some isopropyl alcohol, 70%, and then we'll get wrapping. All right, it's coming along nicely. We have 2 doors done. We have all the top pieces here done. Again, the lighting's kind of tricky to see everything. We've just masked this area off here. We're gonna clean it. I like to put tape inside here just to catch any dust that maybe I missed when I was cleaning. That way when the vinyl's laying here, it's less likely to get sand up against it because you want that to be clean when you wrap it around this lip right here. So let's get to the quarter panel. I also like to use knifeless tape in some of the door jambs, so I put knifeless tape right here. So after I fold the vinyl along that edge, then I can pull the tape back and cut the vinyl nice and clean, and then we'll have a nice clean line just in this crevice here. Okay, we got a lot done. All we have left now is the rear bumper and the rear hatch. I'm gonna call it a night, but for you guys, it'll be tomorrow morning. All right, we got the Escalade done. She's parked outside. We'll get to that momentarily. We'll take a look in the sunlight, and then we'll take a look at nighttime, where I think it'll look even better. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit more about the features of this vinyl. This is the forged carbon gloss by VViViD. You can see right here, check out VViViD's website, VViViD.ca or .com. But this product here is really cool. I do like the cap, but I've told you I like it because it helps you avoid unnecessarily scratching the vinyl. It's also nice when you're working with big, flatter areas. It helps hold the vinyl nice and straight so you can work it down the door panel, for example, which often if you don't have a cap like this, the vinyl wants to stick and fold and bunch up, and then you just have to sit there and fine tune things, especially if you're working on your own. So having this cap helps hold the sheet nice and straight, and then you can just lay the vinyl in nicely. Then I like to peel it off like this and toss that aside, and then I work it with a glove or with a squeegee. It'll probably scratch a little bit, which is something I want to show you next. So I want to show you this has self-healing properties. So once the cap is off, we'll just stick it to my M4 here. Now because the cap is off, I may have to rub the vinyl a little bit to work with it. And when I do that, it may add just very light swirl marks or scratch marks. Probably hard to pick up on camera, but all you do is give it some heat and it will remove those marks. Now this wasn't a clean surface that I put it on, so you can probably see like a little bit of speckle of dirt and stuff like that. But those swirl marks with some heat, they vanish. Having that self-healing property is really nice. I wouldn't say it's as effective as paint protection film, but it's a nice in-between. Paint protection film is quite a bit thicker, almost twice as thick, but this adds some protection, and I like that. All right, let's take a closer look at the Escalade. Let's open the doors. Here we go. We'll make sure we go around the front here. It's all wrapped up top, all on the bottom, all nice and post-heated on all the edges. Everything is worked in nicely, no air bubbles. I think it came together pretty good. But when it looks its best is when it's in the sun. Like, look at that. Otherwise, at an angle, it looks black. Really cool film. I can't wait to see it at night when headlights and street lights are hitting it. But I'm gonna hop in. I'm just gonna drive down the street and we'll get some shots of the vehicle moving. And then we'll wait for nightfall and get a little more. Well, there we go. The wrap is done. I hope you guys like it. I know I like it. Most importantly, my wife likes it. It's her daily driver. Again, I want to thank VViViD Vinyl for sending this over and letting us wrap the 2022 Cadillac Escalade today. Don't be afraid to try some of these things yourself. DIY projects with practice can turn out all right. This is maybe my 10th wrap, but each one gets better than the last. So if you like today's video, hit that like button. Please consider subscribing. We'll talk to you next time.